Okay, welcome everybody to part 2 of Saturday at John's. Like I said, after lunch, uh, we'd be back. And what I'm going to do after lunch here is cut the canopy notches in my fuselage. See if I can get the canopy slid down in there.
I don't see it anywhere under there.
It don't matter, I can get some more. I'll order them from Amazon. They're about $5 for a dozen.
Yeah, they're just little throwaway little air filters like.
It's a pop filter.
That'd be nice if you could find it laying here.
Yeah, well, be nice, but it ain't gonna happen.
No.
Yeah, that canopy's usable. They're all usable.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out for the canopy where it goes. Then I'm going to cut all this stuff off and start hollowing it out. We need to figure out, I was at 49 ounces before hollowing, so I need to get it down to about 45.
I'm going to be working on another project here, which we asked a couple videos ago if anybody's done anything with laser printers and decals. I don't think we really got any feedback from that. But I had a guy with a laser printer, and laser printers take a special decal paper. And he came up with this stuff. It's a laser printer decal material, but it prints on a piece of transfer paper. It doesn't print on a piece of decal paper like your typical decal is, where you got a thin film. You take your inkjet printer and you print it on the thin film, and then you stick it in the water, and it comes off and slides right off. But it's attached to a piece of film. All that comes off this stuff is ink. There's no film that transfers everything. Like these lettering, all these letters are individual. So if you put this on your airplane, you don't see that little clear decal paper in between all the letters or anything like that. Something big like this, you wouldn't see the ring around the edge of clear decal paper like all your old model cars and stuff had when you were a kid. You put your decals on there and you could see it. And this is just the ink from the laser printer that's on this stuff. And what you do is you apply glue, I guess, to the surface that you want it on. You got to keep it wet. And then you soak this stuff in water just like a regular decal, and you put it on there, rub it down, and let it dry. And you pull this paper off of it. Don't know how this is going to work yet. This is something new to me. I thought they all had a thin plastic film that the ink went on and all that. But this doesn't. This is just the toner that come out of the laser printer is laid onto this, and this paper, slippery paper, is nothing more than a transfer tape, basically, like for a stencil or a paint mask or something like that. And the transfer paper holds everything in place until you get it on there and stuck down, and then you pull the transfer tape off of it and do whatever you're going to do. But this is all an experiment.
And of course, he's going to do it on his new model.
Well, it's going to go eventually. If it works, it's going to go on my airplane, but my Nobler. But this is all my lettering, step, no step, octane, no push, experimental, pilot name, caution, danger, prop arc, you know, stuff like that. So, I mean, after I do some experimenting with this and see how it works, I guess we'll see. Otherwise, we might end up going right straight back to inkjet, decal paper, and all that kind of stuff. But I thought it pretty intriguing to for the laser thing, and no paper, no transfer paper of any kind, you know, or accompanying paper. I guess we'll find out. I'm not ready, really set up to do it right now, so I'll probably do it sometime this week. And if I get a system down that works real good, maybe next weekend we can get a video of what's going on next weekend when Sparky comes over. Oh, all I'm doing outside this thing, I'm sanding this thing down, getting ready to polish it up. I finished it up and flew it a few times. Flies pretty good. But now it's time to get busy on it, get her polished up, ready for flying season. Try to get my K77 running correctly, which seems to be a problem. Anybody out there running K77s can contact me or Sparky. And Sparky can get you a hold of me or whatever, or Stunt Hanger, and send me a personal message that's running K77s, and any you know, little idiosyncrasies that you have about running them or setups or whatever you're using. I don't seem to be getting good starts after it's run once, and some various other things that I won't really discuss on here right now. You're in setting that. Get a gander here at what Sparky's doing. He is cutting trough where his canopy's going to sit down in.
That's where it's going to glue.
That's where all your glue goes. It's what holds it on real good. And right now his front turtle deck or
This
cowling part of the airplane, the front top part of the fuselage, is still a solid piece. It hasn't been hollowed out yet. Same way with this headrest. I don't think he's hollowed that out yet.
nothing.
The bottom block hasn't been hollowed out. It's just sort of tacked together and you know, being shaped to the outside shapes and everything first. And then he'll go and he'll pop these off, and he's thinking about popping them off here and carving some of this out now. So
Yeah, I want to get this mounted down in there, see what it looks like. See, we did such a fine job on making it today. Might take a file and file that.
I've got a little saw blade. You want a little saw blade to maybe run down that?
Yeah, we'll try anything.
I got a couple different kinds. They're different thicknesses. This is a thinner one. This is a little more stout but thicker.
I don't want to cut through it.
Looking beauteous.
Yeah, beautiful. Get it coming on a little bit more. And of course, superfill goes on the outside of this to make the canopy look like part of the airplane. Still a little more.
Are these bad batteries?
Yep. Each one of these shows goes through about $5 worth of battery.
Yeah. Yeah, these things eat up batteries, that's for sure.
Well, what do you think? Is that deep enough? I'm going to have to make my hood scoop a little wider.
Well, it got to be about 1/8 inch deep. Probably not even that deep, really, but 1/8 inch would be real nice.
It's not 1/8 inch deep, but
Yeah, it's got to be sort of deep up here and then get shallower as you come back.
yeah. I got to finish all this off anyway, you know. But we'll get it cut in there.
Yeah, you'll at least have the trough there to trace off of. I'm going to cut these down. You don't want to take all that home with you, don't you? I'm just cut this around this edge, bottom.
Okay, whatever.
You can trim it up later. You don't have any room to haul that stuff home.
Well, there it is. It's attached. I mean, it's not glued on, but it's sat down where it belongs. And we're going to need to make this scoop a little bit wider so that it molds right into the right there. I like it. I like it a lot. Got one watcher. Can you guys hear us okay? 2 watchers. Can you hear us okay? We don't know. We have no way to check. Okay. What do you think? Yep, sounds good. All right, thank you, Dennis. What do you think? Did that turn out okay? Got in deep enough, you think?
Yeah, if it isn't, you'll make it there when you're done. How's that come out?
It dropped it a little bit, but that's okay.
Let's put the... Doesn't make any difference. They're both about the same. This one's got a little modding in it, and this one's real clear, but it's got that one spot in the side of it. Is what it is.
Okay.
Put the mold in that.
Hand me that spinner out of there. Oh, need the little titty on the end too.
Well, you're picky now.
Yeah. Yeah. Got to see if I got the right shape before I start hollowing. I can't step very far back in my apartment.
Yeah, but one pace away.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Stand here and look at it. Ooh, it's perfect.
All those angles will start flowing.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, that's gonna be a sharp looking airplane.
People don't realize how long it takes to do that. Just
Yeah,
that.
just the nose, the angle of the nose, and the grinding down of the surface. Um, very time consuming.
Oh, what's going on here? Yeah. Maybe I just need to pin this right here so I'm not tethered. Yeah, we'll see. Okay. Anyway. That's what it looks like. We got one thumbs up, 3 washers. So now the trick is I'm going to cut the top block off, which is just tacked on, and hollow it out. Try anyway. Take this off. This off. Looks of the airplane drastically change when you take all that stuff away from it. So now, you know what, I want to get a weight on everything before I start hollowing.
That'd be a good idea. Huh. Thought I might find that real quick, but.
I will just wait a few slides. Yeah, ridiculous. 11 ounces for just the fuselage. 10, 9, be about 8 ounces. So this piece here is basically all solid right now. And I'm going to take the grinder and grind the hell out of it. And here again, this will take a few sandings to do this correctly. You know, I'll get the bulk of it out here, but I'll spend several hours getting it down to minimal weight. Three-eighths of an inch now, but when I'm done, I'll be eighth of an inch. Same with this. I mean, I end up cutting of course, I don't know. I'll probably leave those quarter.
I would back there.
I used a piece of light ply for F1.
That's all you need for that. Anything from the firewall back is really, you know, all that stuff can be hogged out of there out in the front.
Well, this one's light ply too, so I'm not using any aircraft ply in the formers.
I don't think you need it.
I don't either.
I mean, you're not using plywood on the fuselage side. You're using carbon fiber veil in between two layers of wood, which isn't the ultimate spot to be putting carbon fiber veil at. I mean, you're always stronger on the outside of a surface than down through the center of it. But
well, it's laminated.
Yeah, but you really don't.
Yeah, could have just got away with the glue.
Yeah, you're not gaining any strength. And that's something that we were going to do today. And we got sort of sidetracked. We were going to make up a piece of wood, and we'll do this. Don't get us wrong, we're going to do this, and it's going to be a test. We're going to take one sheet of balsa wood, and we're going to cut test strips out of it. And these test strips are going to be covered with AA silk span, medium silk span, Jap tissue, and carbon fiber veil. And then those pieces are going to be cut into strips, all equal in size, say 1 inch wide and 6 inches long. And we'll have a couple strips of each one, 3 or 4 strips of each one. And then we're going to do a break test on them. We're going to let a certain amount of it overhang the edge of a thing. We're going to start adding weight to it until we get them to break. And we're going to try to see just what's stronger. And we'll prove it, right? We'll have it on video. We'll prove, you know, without a shadow of a doubt what's stronger. We both have our own opinions about what's going to be the strongest, and we both agree on what we think is going to be the winner out of the bunch. And we could probably just about tell you right on down the line, you know, which one's going to do the best and which one's going to fail the first. So it's just a matter, man. If we don't get to this today, we'll do it next weekend or something. But we'll get it out there. We'll make up the test pieces. They'll all have the exact same amount of dope on them. You know, we'll do it just like you would covering an airplane with 3 base coats lightly sanded in between. Put the silk span on or whatever the substance is, and 3 top coats. And then we'll do the test at that. We'll cut it into strips. We'll cut all the wood out of one single piece of wood. So
I forgot to weigh it.
the luck of the draw as to, you know, what part of that chunk of wood, but hopefully that'll be about as controlled as we can get, since everything's coming out of the same piece of wood. Well, I think that'll make it pretty fair. Of course, you could bitch, well, piece of wood's different grain all the way through it. Well, yeah, it is, but we don't have a man-made subject, you know, piece of whatever to test this stuff on, so we'll go with what's natural in the airplanes that we build, and we'll have a test out for you guys shortly. You're going to do this all out 1/8 inch?
Yeah.
All the way around?
You want to hollow it? Go for it.
You don't have to do any modification to it, do you?
No. Leave it.
A little heavy on the front?
Yeah, heavy on the front because I want to sand
I'll leave
that.
it heavy on the front and the back, and then you can take that little bit out of there if you want.
I want to sand a concave into it for his head.
Enough? Is that enough?
Yeah.
Gonna be a lot of grinding noise, guys. Know what to do about that.
I think it'd be faster if I use my scoop.
Yeah, it might be.
Ah, man.
Once you get through that plywood, if you get that plywood cut out of there.
Yeah.
That's how I do on mine. I make it one piece across there just like you did. And cut out the center. It wastes a little bit of plywood, but
We ain't worried about it.
makes it easier, I think.
Did you weigh that before you started?
No, I didn't. Forgot all about you wanting to do that. Get the old handy dandy trusty scale out here. Seven grams.
I want to tell you guys, I made mention of K&S Metals out of Chicago on on one of the last videos where I got hosed by Amazon or whatever, and I called K&S and they made it right. Not only that, they called me back after they spent double the delivery charge for something they didn't have any responsibility to. So K&S is a good company. I talked to the owner. He's a good dude. So don't feel shy about calling K&S.
Yeah, that was a heck of a deal they did. They sent a box that you could have sent 500 pieces of tubing in. One piece of 1/8-inch tubing in it.
Overnight.
Yeah, overnight to boot. Unreal.
Yeah, I need to get through this plywood here. This started out 1.7. So I got to get it down to a half ounce. Well, I'm sure this is not too exciting watching a couple of guys grind.
Probably not.
Not as exciting as the Wendy video.
Yeah, well, I guess we can put everybody to sleep like the best of them. Remember how we had a problem with the straight line here? Mm-hmm.
So this is a straight line because it was flat on top. The other block was rounded on top, and I showed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotta cut 50% of the way off of this from here. I think that's gonna happen. Gotta get with Kaz and order another tank.
Yeah. Let's see here. We're down here.
Yeah. Corona. Needs a piece of plywood there.
Ah, the sweet smell of balsa wood.
Oh yeah. It's really gonna take a lot to get this down.
Yeah, you're gonna be working on that puppy for a while. Typical cow. Typical hollowing anything, really.
I took 7/10 of an ounce off of it so far.
What it weighed to begin with?
1.7.
So you're down to 1 ounce.
Yep.
You get another
Quarter ounce out of it.
quarter ounce.
Still pretty thick in spaces.
See, you can thin some of this down here. That don't have to be that wide. That only needs to be about a 1/4 inch across there.
And
Hollow this back out a little bit and bring this in closer. Then harden up with CA. What's the little web that's left in there? That'll take probably a 1/4 ounce out of it back there.
yeah,
So a little bit at a time, though.
yeah, this is good enough for start. I can finish it up at the apartment.
I mean, you can only get so close, rough grinding, and then you got to start. Basically, what I'm doing here, a sanding block, and
Right.
get in there and get it down to final dimensions.
Oh, nice balsa booger. Spiders.
Yeah, those aren't allowed down here in the shop.
I need a long blade. You got one of them 22s?
I got one, but it might not be very sharp.
It doesn't need to be sharp. Just needs to go across so I can open up that top lock. There we go. Ooh, that spider smells like shit.
Gee, I wonder why. I don't remember who said it. It was Al Raby or somebody said it to me, or Wendy or Al Raby or somebody said, If you haven't sanded through it in one or two spots, you're not sanding enough.
That's what gets you. You want to try to work on a molded airplane?
Well, in the future,
Yeah.
Sparky, I've been looking at that shit for 20 years now. Never had, I don't know, I guess I never had the help, the support in the past because it's really not a one person project.
You can sell them.
No, I never worried about that aspect of it, but my biggest stopping point as far as doing an all molded airplane has always been you better really like the design really well.
Doesn't matter what it looks like. I know what the number should be, and it won't have a 22-inch tail.
You know, you got to do the right numbers, you got to make it light, and you got to like the way it looks because whatever you make them molds as, you're ended up your final look. Whether you like it or not, be looking at it a lot.
Okay, let's see what this weighs. It's very heavy. This was a light. This was a 5-pound piece of wood,
Yeah.
but it's very heavy. 3.1 ounces. I've got to take at least 2 ounces.
3.1, eh?
What?
3.1, eh?
Yep, I've got to take at least 2 ounces out of it. Yep.
That'll work real good in there. Need to mark it here. And mark it there. Just hollowing these blocks will take probably a week. Oh yeah, it'll take a while. It's amazing. Think you're gonna whip this stuff out.
Well, when I'm at home, I can do, I go pretty crazy. Okay. What did I say it was? 3.1?
Yeah.
Let's see, we got any chatters? Very good, Master. Hope to hate angry humans. Nice work, thanks. wish I had my big scoop. This is ridiculous. You don't like these, John, but watch this. How much less dust it makes by taking this thing and scooping this out.
Yeah. See, when I'm not on air or whatever, I'm normally sitting here with a shop vac running and this thing between my legs and shop vac sucking up all that dust.
I like these little ones as much as I like my big exact, so I don't have to get the right ones.
Those are for getting down in tighter spaces.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for tight spaces, but I'm hogging now, so.
Alright.
If I had an inch one, it'd be better.
Yeah, oh yeah. Except they're sort of hard to, what I find about them is it's hard to hold the wood and not dent and bang the wood all up, trying to get that to work, but I haven't used them a lot, so I don't have the, a system down or.
Scoop, I don't know, quite a bit out of it already.
Let's see what we got out of this, and this was 7 grams to begin with.
Should be 3.
Not really done with it yet. Down to 2.
Nope, that's great, throw it out. So good.
I'm not really done with it yet. I want to leave a little beef. I'm going to leave a little beef right back at the very tail end of it and a little bit out the front to allow him to get his headrest dialed in real nice and good. And let him be able to sand it in back in the back to the
Rudder.
Yeah, the fin, front of the fin, I guess, where it all goes in together. And that didn't take me very long there. But I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's as pretty on the inside as it is on the outside. No stress risers in that piece. And see what the thickness is. Let's see, that's a heavy 1/8. Heavy 1/8, pretty consistent. Same thickness all the way down. Now I'm measuring the thickness on the very top of it. Thickness up here on the very top, the inside. Now I'm at a heavy 1/8, so I can go down in there another 1/16 of an inch.
Don't.
But I want to leave him some because he's got to sand all this in on the outside. So, or what you got to do is you got to bring him down close and get it right where you're right at it, and then allow for that sanding, that final finish sanding and stuff, And then that'll bring it down to an 1/8 inch or just a little under an 1/8 inch, and that's about as light as you're gonna make that piece.
You're the king of the grinder. Grind that little spot out for me there.
King of the grinder, eh?
Yeah, I don't have that bit. Well, this is nice. There's a hard spot there where I laminated it. You're a very good master. I'm talking about you. We've been out almost an hour now. 6 minutes to be an hour. This is kind of a boring session because, you know, I haven't been over here in a couple of months, and I got a lot of work to catch up on. So there's not a whole lot we're talking about now. As John said, we're going to be doing that test, and that will prove to be very informative about how great carbon fiber is. Who we got on here today? Say hello. But the fuselage is relatively light without all that shit on it.
Yeah.
See what we got here. Six 3 is 78 ounces. Still here, okay, Great Dennis. And we haven't put you to sleep yet? That was the ball driver. There it is. I wanted to grind this out here. Might as well grind this out while I can. Oop. So what do you think of them scoops?
Yeah, it just takes some getting used to. It helps me knock down these high points with them in between.
Well, I guess we'll go to the Walmart Carnival ride on the way home. Picking up a few cheeky dinners if they got any.
Well, I found that Myers has more inventory. Surely there's an 1/8 line on this, right? That you can go to. You got one side down to an 1/8 inch. You got one side 3/8.
Whatever, 1/8, make it whatever. There'll be a lot more sanding after you.
Oh yeah.
I never can get those stupid pens to work. You see how this is not quite up to the line? Make sure you leave some meat right here.
I'm just running it to smooth.
Okay.
And I'm only going to go up here to the back of this,
Yeah.
to right in here, and just try to just get some of that out of there and make it smooth. And that way you got a little more, know what thickness you are. So,
I need to make me one of these.
yeah, they're very useful when you're doing this stuff.
Got to have one of these. The skizzers. Ice picker.
Ice pickers. Yeah, they work. I'm telling you.
You're trying to get a new tool.
I wish just a little sharper.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be as sharp as X-Acto. Either that or the wood's hard.
Yeah. Well, typical when you're doing this, you're cutting all different directions on the grain of the wood. You know, it's not just the easy way. There, I hit a spot and balsa and it just dug in.
Making a canoe.
Yeah, take a chunk of wood and grind away anything that doesn't look like an airplane.
Let's see if we got any more chatter. I'm on watching. Okay, Jerry. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Gary. We see that you're watching. One of our faithful members. I don't know if you heard, but I'll be putting together the Al Braid videos for our paid members. I'm having a little trouble converting them from MOV to MP4, but Al lived in the 1920s, and his computer skills are from the IBM punch card days, and the files are really corrupted. and I have a hard time converting to modern stuff. I think Al said he was 86 years old.
Yeah, he's getting up there. I hope everybody realized he was a real airline pilot. So his background is pretty impeccable.
I've got a video that he did from inside the airline cockpit. I'm going to put up. I'll probably put that one out to everybody. But the Bearcat design, the Critical Mass design, the Millennium Mustang design, and finishing techniques are going to go out to the members. So if you're not a member, make sure you join. The join button is down by the subscribe button. It's $4.99 a month. It's not like gonna break the bank, and you're gonna get content never seen before. I'll work my hardest to give you stuff that it's just not out there. I mean, you got my 2K clear down here. What were you doing, weighing the cans?
Yeah, I've been sitting down here 2 months now. Back when you called me up and asked me how much that stuff weighs, the scale was down here. I was in the garage. Getting there, little by little.
Sometime next week it should be ready to go.
And what it weigh?
3 ounces, 3.1. Should be down to about 2.5 now.
2.4. This is all thick. This is still, sheet is probably 3/8 of an inch thick down then through here, which just 80 grit paper or whatever and start sanding. When you're doing these sides and you're coming up to this line, rather than sitting this all the way down in the hole and trying to sand like that, what it'll want to do is it'll want to run up out there on you, and it can take a gouge out of it, which makes your mating surface sort of look screwed up. It adds more fill, more weight. Take the sanding block and just tilt it up. Put the one end down in the bottom and tilt it up a little bit. Then take that and sand it like that. And believe it or not, that'll help keep you from wanting to ride up and out of the trough. And you wanted to sand down in the bottom anyway, so you're actually pushing towards the side and pushing down. And so you're still getting a radius in there, but it's just working up fine closer to that line. Now right now I'm getting back here where it's too big in diameter, so I'll stop, I'll come back forward.
That was an extremely light piece of wood. It sure feels like a baseball bat though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But it was 3.5 pound wood.
That's a lot of wood there. That's let's see, about equivalent to about a 1/2 inch by 3 inch, 36 inch long piece of wood.
It was an inch thick when I started.
But there's still a 1/2 inch by 3 inch of wood sitting here. Yeah, there's still a lot of wood there. See, I'm stopping at the back of that cockpit there, and I'll let you do this front section because you know how much. It's your airplane.
Yeah.
It's been at least another whole day on this.
Oh, I'm sure. I know it.
You know,
I know what
if
it's
it's
gonna take.
my airplane, I'll have another whole day for sure into it. And that won't be steady. That'll be work for an hour and take a break and go do something else, come back and work for an hour. But it'll be 4, 5, 6 more hours. And that's just on the inside. I haven't even started on the outside. Outside what's already been done.
It's just rough shit. We're just roughing it now. I mean,
Pretty much. Hogging out, trying to see what the final weight's going to end up, or close to it.
I know this is not going to be as light as I wanted. I wanted a 7.5 ounce fuselage. It's not happening. But I got to do what I got to do. It'll be a nice airplane though. I like the shape of it already. Ron O'Toole always wanted me to build a Tucker, and I didn't think that I'd like the look of it, but I do now. It grows on you.
Yeah, it's one of them classic 40s, 30s, 40s looking airplane. There's a little bit of it.
Yeah, we'll hog out some of this, and I guess we'll call it a day. What time is it?
Hell yeah. Shit. 3:06.
Yeah, I'll leave it 4. So, I'll do this real quick. We'll do some cleanup and get the heck out of here.
Yep, dusty mess.
I got to do laundry tomorrow. It's been 3 months. Everything I got is dirty.
You run out of your 20 pairs of jeans. I'm gonna start vacuuming them.
Well, I think we're going to end it because the vacuum's going to make a lot of noise. Thanks for watching. Be sure to join and become a member to see those Al Rabe videos. I'll go ahead and put Al Rabe airline video on, but if I can get it edited up. So we'll see you later. Thanks again. Fair winds, tight lines. See ya.
Toodles.